Hello and welcome to Team Yankee Tactics. This is my first episode of hopefully running through the missions from World War III Team Yankee. I'm a pretty new player myself, and I wanted to get to know the missions a bit better, and I thought I could just make a video of doing that. So, yeah, if there's any issues, either with the audio or the visual quality, or I get some rules wrong, please just let me know in the comments and I'll try and fix it. So, if you're playing World War III Team Yankee, the mission you play is decided, if you want to do it this way, through a battle plan. And so each player picks their battle plan, whether they want to attack, maneuver, or defend, and the other player picks in secret, and then you reveal, and then you see what mission you play. Then you roll a dice. So if we're both attacking, so today we're going to go through when the two players choose the same battle plan. So they both choose attack, both choose maneuver, both choose defend. Um, then you get a selection of 6 missions. You roll a dice, you see which mission you're going to play, and then for some of them you would then roll a dice, each roll a dice, and the player who rolls higher is the attacker and the player who rolls lower is the defender. So, and the missions you play change whether you're attacking or defending, and that's decided based on your battle plan, whether you're defending, maneuvering, or attacking. So, as you can see, if you both choose the same stance, the 3 boxes of missions are the same. So we're going to go through this grouping today. So the first mission that you have a chance to roll up is Breakthrough. And in this mission, the attacker is placing 2 objectives in this back area. The defender is placing their units sort of in the 2 table quarters, and then their attacker has to sort of attack through them to get to the objectives. The defender's reserves arrive from their 2 corners, so they're coming in behind their own units, but the attacker's reserves arrive from the back corner. The mission's special rules are flanking delayed reserves for the attacker, random time of day for the attacker, ambush for the defender, and immediate reserves for the defender. So the time of day is just a dice roll. Are they going to tell us? No, it's at the start. If we're playing random time of day, it's a dice roll, and you just see what time of day you're in. Dawn and dusk have some night fighting rules that you might be fighting in the dark, which has its own special rules. The defender gets to place a unit in ambush. The defender's reserves are immediate. That means they start rolling turn 1 to see if their reserves come in. The attacker's flanking delayed reserves means that at the start of the 3rd turn, they roll a die. So yeah, I guess the takeaways here are the attacker's going to be able to place their objectives where they want them, potentially spread out, and the defender's probably going to end up having to move onto the objectives to hold them, especially as these reserves are arriving. Your ambush has to come in your deployment zone, so that's most likely going to be terrain in these areas, but not directly on the objectives. Yeah, but it's definitely it's a clear attacker scenario. The attacker doesn't have to worry about holding any objectives. They're just trying to push onto them. Counterattack is the next mission, and again, it's a straight up attacker scenario in that each player places an objective, but the attacker doesn't have to worry about any objectives themselves. It's a random time of day. The attacker rolls again. The defender has an ambush. Again, it has to come in their deployment zone. And they get immediate reserves arriving from this far corner. So yeah, again, oh, and the board. You don't have to set up the table that way. You have these alternative table quarter arrangements, and so it's the defender who picks the table quarter they want to defend. But keep in mind that that will then change where the attacker is placing their objective. So again, the defender is going to have to move out to try and secure the objective before the attacker gets there. Dust up, we now have both players placing an objective. So there'll be two objectives in each zone, and it's still attacker defender, but the attacker has to defend their objectives at the same time that they're trying to push on, and vice versa. So it's a meeting engagement. So the first player, the attacker, right? Oh no, it's the highest scoring player. So yeah, so who goes first is you just roll a dice, and the player who goes first is going to count as moving, and they can't fire any bombardments, and they can't have aircraft show up, strike aircraft. Both players have delayed reserves, so they're coming in on turn 3, and they're arriving along your long table edge, which interestingly means they're potentially not arriving close to the objectives. Yeah, so another, again, I don't know what, a balanced mission, I guess maybe you'd call it, where you both sides are trying to take an objective, not just hold it. Encounters the same thing. Both players place, or there's two objectives in each player's deployment zone that they're both trying to attack and defend. The random time of day attacker, it's a meeting engagement for the first player, and scattered delayed reserves for both players. So where your reserves arrive is based on a dice roll, and you're not going to start rolling till turn 3. And then free for all, which is the mission that appears, I believe, yeah, free for all appears twice in the roll off. So it's potentially the most likely mission you'll play. It's same thing. You're placing the objectives you want to get to in your opponent's deployment zone, and then you're going across them. It's a meeting engagement, random time of day, probably the least, and you're starting with everything on the board. So potentially the least special rules. Yeah, so an interesting thing to look at then is that if you're building your list to do a certain battle plan, say attack, and or maneuver or defend, and you come up against someone, say at an event, who has the same plan, in these missions, only you're like, okay, I'm always going to attack. I don't have to worry about defense. If you come up against an attacking force, in 2/3 of the missions, 4 out of the 6 of them, you actually end up defending. You have to defend your own objectives as well as attack the opponents. Only in breakthrough and counterattack do you not have to worry about defending an objectives and could just go all in on the attack, which I think is something to keep in mind when you're building your force out and trying to play the mission. Anyways, I hope that was a useful, quick rundown of the missions, and I'll plan to do the other battle plans as well in the future. Thanks. Talk to you later. Bye. All right, now we'll talk about if a player's chosen maneuver. So one player's maneuvering and the other player's attacking or defending. The missions are similar to if you've chosen the same battle plan. We still have breakthrough, we still have counterattack, we still have dust up, we still have encounter, but we now have probe instead of free for all, and counterattack is more likely. So we'll just compare. So counterattack, the one the defender's unit is going to be the defender is really conducting a hard defense. The attacker has no objectives they have to defend. And then what we add in is probe, which is both players place objectives. It's a meeting engagement for the attacker, scattered immediate reserves for the attacker, so the reserves are arriving sort of in a random place on their table edge. And then the defender has an ambush and scattered delayed reserves, so their reserves are arriving randomly and only after turn 3. And I assume random time. Okay, and a random time of day. So yeah, it's maneuver is interesting because if you're building your list and you think you're going to choose maneuver, it basically takes out. You're never going to play the missions where someone's fully defending. You're gonna if you run into another maneuver player, you'll play the same battle plan missions, or you're gonna play these one different missions, and they're actually quite really you're choosing from a suite of 6 missions in total. Whereas if you're an attacker or a defending player, you're sort of running the whole gamut of all the missions. So yeah, it's an interesting battle plan to choose, and we'll move on to the missions where there's the battle plans are too different. So if one player has attacked and another player has defended, we end up with bridgehead, no retreat, and fighting withdrawal. So in bridgehead, the attacker is placing 2 objectives, and the defender is placing their units within this box. The defender has an ambush. The defender has deep, scattered, immediate reserves. Deep reserves mean you have no battle tank units, so no units with front armor 4 or better on the table to start, or just only 1 unit with front armor of 4 or more, or 1 aircraft unit on the table. They do get a minefield, and they do get to choose the time of day. Additionally, this is a mission where the defender wins if they have repelled the attack on or after turn 6, and that just means there's no attacker units within 8 inches of the objective. They win the game. Let's see if it just... Nope. I thought it might give us the rules for minefields, but those are in the main book. The other mission is fighting withdrawal. Again, the attacker is placing two objectives. The defender has minefields, an ambush, and a strategic withdrawal, which is they have to make it to the start of their 8th turn. The defender. Strategic withdrawal. They start the game with no delay counters at the start of each turn from turn 2 onwards. After checking victory conditions, the defender counts the number of units, not counting attachments and independent teams, the delay counters that they have on the table. If the total is 6 or more, they must withdraw 1 unit and its attachments and remove all delay counters. If they have less than 6 units and delay counters combined, they gain a delay counter but do not withdraw any units. If the drawing units not get dispersed, will treat as being destroyed. Yeah, so again, you're pulling your units off gradually, but you're trying to hold on until turn 8. And then no retreat. Again, okay, in this one, each player is placing an objective in the objective area. We're fighting along table edges. It's the defender has an ambush. The defender has deep immediate reserves, so again, only 1 battle tank unit, but you start rolling for reserves right away, and a minefield. Winning the game. The defender wins if they have repelled the attack at the end of their turn on or after the 6th turn, which is no enemy units within 8 inches of the objective. Yeah, so how am I going to sum up with this? Yeah, the your understanding of what missions or which battle plans you're going to choose to play, and then what missions you're going to end up with is something you can sort of think about before the game, and then design a force around how they're going to accomplish those missions. The you can't you're never going to be fully sure that you're going to just be defending, like, and not have to worry about attacking and taking objectives. So you need a force that can do both things. But I hope this has been useful. Yeah, I didn't mention earlier but all the missions where you don't have to take objectives, you're just hard defending and have to hold the objectives. It's either they either have the repel the attacker win condition, where you just have to have no attackers within 8 inches, or you just have to hang on to a certain number of turns. So thanks for watching, and I hope this has been helpful as you're starting to play Team Yankee. Thank you very much.